owner of the AWF, Cause Superstar, 11-time tag team champion of the world. This egotistical bastard is ready to shoot the shit as Shawn Walsh presents The Shawn Walsh Show, where there is no holds barred.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again, and no, not that time, because that only happens once a month. It's the time that happens every weekend, and that is a new episode of the Shawn Walsh Show is here. Hold your applause, though, because before we can get to today's episode, let's talk about last week's episode, where we had on the very first ever female guest of the Shawn Walsh Show, Evan O'Shea. It was a very interesting interview. A lot of you gave some good feedback on the show. A lot of people seemed to enjoy the show, which I was really happy about. And some of you may not necessarily agreed with some of the points and the stances that Evan O'Shea took. But regardless, you still liked it. So that was pretty cool. And that's a perfect example of people who are on this show. You're not going to necessarily agree with everything that is said. There are going to be some things that are said that you're going to be like, hell yeah, they're right. Yeah, I'm on that team. But some people are going to be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Or now, what is this girl talking about? Come on now. Like, there are some things that you're not necessarily going to agree with, but that's the point of the show. To hear everyone's different viewpoints. We saw back on whatever episode it was that I had D-Wall on from DCA, and D-Wall gave his side of the story of DCA Revelations, and now you get the other side. It's up to the viewer to decide what they think on that particular issue or any of the other things that were talked about on the show. And hopefully, what I'm hoping, this creates more of an opportunity for the future. If certain things are discussed on my show, and you feel something isn't right, and you have a story that you could tell that maybe something is missing, maybe there's a whole different side to it, please let me know. It's a perfect example. I was saying beforehand on the Shawn Walsh Show that if some people, whether it be at the time it was Brent Harvinator and Burb, if they wanted to come onto the show and explain their side of the story about everything that was going on, and they declined. However, Evan O'Shea went out of her way to message me, sent me I believe it was through Ask FM, and asked to come on the show and explain the other side of the story. And now we see what happens here. So hopefully that helps people who get angry or sense, that something's missing, to go out of their way and message me. And if you legitimately have a case like Evan O'Shea did, come on the show. We'll talk about. We'll do a whole thing talking about call wrestling or whatever the hell you do, and then we'll talk about what's going on. And hopefully, if your name was damaged, you can clear your name, or maybe you smudged the other guy's name. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll see what the viewers think. So hopefully, if there's a conflict with things that are said on the show, we do things the right way, like Evan O'Shea did. And not like what was done elsewhere. See, on another podcast, I believe that's what it is, or shoot, I'm not even completely sure. Amir, AM Punk, from the YWF, he had a few. I'm gonna go with his podcast because I believe that's what he's doing. He uploaded. I think he has 2 out, or he has 1 out and 1 on the way. I know the first one was Marco. It's Marco Rose. And some interesting things were said about myself and other people who have been on this show before that I'm just going to quickly address, hopefully, and then we can move forward. Uh, this podcast was a response to the CawCon edition of the Shawn Walsh Show. Apparently, this episode infuriated Amir, that he went out of his way to talk about this extensively, which I find that very surprising, because me and some of the other people I have talked to about this have said the same, that this was actually not one of the more controversial episodes of the Shawn Walsh Show. It was actually a really relaxed edition of the show, not just because we were sitting on the couch, but because there was no big controversy. The biggest controversy from the show was when Steve and the rest of us were talking about Ray Geddes and Ray's fans, and there wasn't even that much backlash from that. Apparently, the backlash came from a 5-minute portion of the show, of a 2-hour show. 2-hour show, and 5 minutes of it got almost a whole podcast. Like, Jesus. It's kind of funny. Now, I'm going to point out first that I have not sat down and listened to Amir's podcast because I just didn't have the time to do so, and I've been very busy with life and other call related things, such as Call All Stars, which I am going to get to in a few moments. But let's get back to this podcast. So I was relayed some information from a few sources about what was said on this podcast, and I know some people have told me that I should stay quiet and not say anything, and I hope to not say much, because I don't think much needs to be said. I think there doesn't need to be any sort of conflict, and I hope there isn't. I hope, Amir, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, I hope there is no beef or no issue between me and you, or this show and your show, or whatever the case is. I hope that's not the case. And hopefully you just got confused at things that were said on the CawCon show, or if you were given this information by other people, because I know in the past you have talked about things that I've said on this show, and you've said that you've had people who've messaged you and told you this stuff. Perhaps, maybe you should question those sources. I don't know who they are, but those sources you should perhaps question, because they gave you some faulty information. And I do not want you going around giving out false information. For one, because it's bad for myself, and for other people, because you put out stuff that wasn't even said or whatever, and it makes you look bad. So it's a lose-lose. We all need to win. That's the goal here. So hopefully we can do that. Hopefully we can win. And the way to win is talk about the truth. Excuse me. That is nasty virus. But anyway, some things that were talked about was how apparently the whole CawCon was just a YWF hate fest. Like, the whole thing was just trashing YWF. From minute 1 to 2-hour mark, it was YWF this, YWF that, blah, blah, blah. No. It was 5 minutes, I want to say, that YWF was a topic towards the later part of the show. And we were just talking about different call shows, and YWF was a show we talked about just just like other call shows that we gave praise to and we gave criticisms to. We did that with all the shows talked about, including the YWF. And if the problem is that criticisms were given, and I really hope that's not the case, because that would be really, really petty on your guys' side, because we all need criticisms. I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, we all need criticisms, and that's how the world works. You have to be able to take criticism, especially constructive criticism, which was given on the show. It was not hate, it was constructive criticism. So I hope that you take what was actually said on the show and you either look at it, and if you disagree with it, ignore it and move forward. Or if you perhaps apply that to the comeback of the YWF. Because from what I hear, apparently the YWF is no longer on hiatus and they are about to make a comeback. And I hope they do. I hope YWF makes a big comeback. Because again, I'm going to reiterate what Travis said, because Travis said on the show that he does not hate the YWF. He does not want YWF to fail. He wants it to succeed. And I'm going to reiterate, not just for him, but for myself. I have no reason to want the YWF to fail. What sense does that make? Why would I want a call show to fail? Why would anyone want that? That's just silly. So hopefully it comes back with a big bang and everyone's all excited about it. It's another call show for people to do their work in. So I think that's a win. And we are looking to win. Am I right? So hopefully that's what happens. One of the things that was said was the reasoning for YWF's hiatus was because they have lives. I'm not sure exactly who said it, but that was apparently how it was said. And I'm just going to say, hopefully you meant that as in regards to life happens, you got busy, and that comes before call wrestling, and you had to work on that, and now that you have the time, YWF is going to make his comeback. Hopefully. But that's not how it came off. The way it was said, it came off very condescending. It came off like you were saying that your life is more important than anyone else's, and you're the only one who has a life compared to all these other people in call who don't have a life, when that is not true at all. There are a lot of people in call who have lives. There's some that don't, yeah, but there are quite a few, a lot of us, in fact, who have lives, whether it be with school, whether it be with work, whether it be with relationships, whether it be with family life. Some may be married, some may have kids, some may just be out and do stuff, some people just are busy. Everyone that at least I associate with has some form of a life, including myself. So I don't understand that comment. I hope the intent wasn't the way it came off. I hope it was just poorly said. Because if it was meant as, we're busy, y'all don't have lives and all that kind of stuff, then that's sad, because it's not true at all. Apparently also a comment was made that y'all live with your mothers. I believe this comment was made by Amir, from what I was being told. And Amir, come on. Was that really the best comment to make? Y'all live with your mothers? For me, yeah, I do. I'm also a 17-year-old high school student. So, would kind of expect that I do. And for other people, if you're trying to insinuate, someone is an adult and they live with their mother, you have no idea of their situation. And is it really such a bad thing? If they're doing stuff with their life, though, like, come on. That's pretty sad. I'm not going to go more into it because there's no reason to, and I think you already know. But all in all, hopefully this puts an end to it and we can move forward. Hopefully I cleared up a few things. I didn't even know there was going to be a problem about this. Hopefully there isn't. Hopefully we can move forward. I hope, Amir, with your podcast, I hope you succeed. I hope you get on more people and more people get a chance to talk and all that kinds of stuff. That'd be great. Um, Hopefully, since you've had on Marco and Chronix, maybe I can get them in the future, especially with YWF's comeback. Because apparently there was some idea that I wouldn't have them on the show. That's not the case at all. The reason why Marco and Chronix haven't been on the show is because of either timing not working or because they have been busy, and I felt it would be better to wait until they have time. And now apparently they do have time. So maybe in the future we can set something up. Also, let's not throw around like false hatred and bashing at people, especially people who are currently on your roster. It's not the right thing to do to insinuate that one person does more work in one show than another. It's really something that's sad to talk about. Like, you don't even know if that's true. It I I just find it baffling that these assumptions are made, and it may not even be true. And if it is true, then maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe there's a reason why someone may put in more work in another show because one show is giving them something that your show isn't. Or perhaps one person may not be liking their character because maybe their character is one dimensional. I don't know. You'd have to either ask that person or think about it yourself, and if you legitimately find reason to believe that is true, then fix it. Make them do this same work. And I'm not saying go yell at them. Give them a reason to. Give them a better story. Give them a better gimmick or whatever. It works. So hopefully that works out for you guys. I wish you guys the best of luck. I hope there's no ill will. And I hope we can move forward and do some good things here in Call. That's the hope here. Speaking of Call All Stars. Now, I know I had said on last week's episode I was intending on getting Call All Stars out this week. As you can tell, it is not out. That is because commentary is not ready yet. I'll give you this. Here's for the call sheets. That was just painful to say. All of day 2, commentary is complete. The file is ready. It can go up in a moment's notice. But day 1 is not ready. And if day 1 isn't ready, then what would be the point of putting day 2 up? So, Call All Stars 7, hopefully the commentary will be done next week. And then I can get day 1 and day 2 up. The pre-show is also ready. So, once day 1's ready, I will upload the pre-show. And then we will have Call All Star 7, hopefully, crossing my fingers, next week. Stay tuned to the Call All Stars Facebook page, facebook.com/Call Allstars, for more updates regarding Call All Star 7. Also, remember at Call All Star 7, I'm going to be making a big announcement regarding the future of Call All Stars. So look forward to that. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So it'll be taking place on day 2. Should be very fun. And now I think we're going to go sign it off to Eddie Mack. Now, I use this very shitty call recorder known as Call Note. And sometimes Call Note decides that it's not going to record for the first like 5 to 10 minutes because it's pretty dumb. I also ask if any of you guys actually have a legitimate like working Skype recorder. Please let me know because I have used so many shitty ones over the years. I've not found one that works perfectly. I need one that works. But some of my interview, not much, but just like the opening and the first question gets cut off. So I'm just going to explain very briefly what is asked so we can just go right into it because then you're going to hear as it starts, Eddie is already talking. So the first question is about Eddie's how he got into call wrestling, and it wasn't through CCL, it was through making Titantron videos with his YouTube account Sushi Creations. And we talk about some of his early work that he has done and the videos he has made. So without further ado, let's go send it to Eddie Mack as he talks about making Titantrons and all this kinds of stuff back in the days of the Sushi X Creations.
Yeah, basically everything I did, and I'm always trying to improve. I'm always looking to taking, I'm feeding like suggestions from other people. I'm on the internet all the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time. Basically, everything I've learned when it comes to editing, I basically did it on my own through trial and error, and basically, yeah, everything like that. So, and luckily I've been able to carry it over to other things, I suppose.
Yeah. What have you used? I mean, over the years, has it been the same software that you used to edit, whether it be back then with the Trons or now with CCL?
My program of choice has always been Sony Vegas. I've used about 3 or 4 others, but I've never gotten comfortable with them.
Mm-hmm.
I used Adobe Premiere Pro. I kind of liked it, but it's a bit bulky, especially on a laptop. I would not recommend it. If you can, but some people are comfortable with that, and that's fine. I used a Pinnacle Studio, I think. I may have used it once. I didn't like it. Sony Vegas has basically been my go-to editing program. It's just, I picked it up right away. It's not, but then again, any program could be easy to use if you take the time to learn it or whatever. I know a lot of people use Windows Movie Maker. I've never liked Windows Movie Maker, but I know some people do, and that's fine.
Yeah, people use it. It's cool. I used to use it years ago, but that was because when you get a computer, at least a Windows computer, that's the default one
right
on there. So, but to me, after a while, it's too basic. There's not much you can really do with Windows Movie Maker, so you got to move on. That's why I've moved on, but some people like to use it.
I mean, for some it gets the job done, and that's fine, And for others, they want more out of their programs, and that's fine too.
Yeah, it's certainly a matter of choice. But I will say, and I say this as a call viewer, it does, like, when you put a call show out there and you don't know anything about it, but it looks good, it gives people kind of a reason to keep watching.
Right.
Like, if yours looks like crap and you don't know anything about it, well then, unless you do something really cool that one episode they happen to see, they're probably going to click off. Like, for you, if someone were to watch CCL, but they've never watched it before, maybe only heard some things or haven't heard much, but they see the graphics and how things look, it catches the viewer's attention.
I would hope so. I would hope so. That's the idea. But of course, what you put on the show, besides, all the bells and whistles, that's important too. And, some people take an issue with that, and that's fine. Not everybody has the, and this actually took me a while to figure it out. Not everybody's gonna like the same style of, virtual wrestling program,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what? That's fine. It's fine. There are different styles for different people. I like a sim show. I like a show that uses all original talent. I like shows that use all fantasy talent. I like shows that that use a mix too. It doesn't matter. It's just a matter of how you use it. And I'm pretty sure we'll get to that later, aren't we? We're probably not going to get into that.
But like we were talking about before, you did the Trons in the beginning, and actually before that, have you had any, since you've been around for a while, have you had any run-ins with some certain people in Call? I like to call it, like, these stories, like the horror stories of Call.
Oh my God, yes. oh my God, we could fill like a couple episodes with horror stories, but
like, I mean, specifically they go by the Vivian verse, and they've been behind Collision, and specifically later Collisions, and the SMF forums, and something Cawful and Call Wikia, but it's all in all the same people behind it.
Oh boy!
I know you've had some.
Yes, I have.
Some interesting run-ins.
Yes, I have.
Do you have any thoughts on? I mean, how specific you go is your choice, but on these people and what they have done to you or others.
First of all, I will say this: I like to not associate with. I like to not associate with them, because I'm sorry if this hurts your sensibilities. They're a poison to the virtual wrestling community. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel about it. And one horror story. Wow. When I first put CCL together, one thing I wanted to do was like a CAW Champion of Champions thing. Basically like, a champion, basically like a championship that's open to like any CAW league or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But some people decided to, sort of take the ball and run with it, and I thought, maybe this wasn't a good idea. Looking back on it, it wasn't one of my better ideas, because I was at that time a bit naive about the CAW community, and I've heard over time that, the CAW community is basically just like any other community anywhere in the world. There are people that are going to. Am I allowed to curse? Am I allowed to curse?
Well, you can say whatever you want.
Thank goodness. Because because there are a lot of shitty people out there. There are people out there that for the sole purpose just want to take other people down. I mean, like, for what? For who? Like, what do you get out of it? I don't understand that. And I'm pretty sure because of this certain group of people, they've probably stopped doing CAW altogether. Look, let me say this. I'm sure there are some good people. I'm sure deep down in their their heart of hearts, I'm pretty sure they're good people. But there's a quote, as in Men in Black, a person is smart, people are dumb. You get a bunch of people in large groups that do stupid shit, and then suddenly those people are stupid themselves, Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is.
Exactly.
And it's sad, really.
Oh, I agree. 100% agree. These people take things a little too seriously.
Yeah, I want to say something about that. I'd rather save this for the end of the I'd rather save this for the end of the show because I think I know one of the questions you want to ask at the end of the show. So yeah, I'm gonna save that for a little later if that question comes up. I'm hoping it comes up.
All right.
I'm just gonna put that to the side and move on.
All right. So obviously, you did all the stuff.
By the way, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get flamed for this by the Vivian verse tomorrow. Whenever this goes up.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I've gotten flame from them already, so I'm sure that this just adds on to it.
And I want you to know, I really don't care. I'm sorry. I feel like this when it comes to advice. I mean, there's some good advice to there's some good advice to take. There's some people that genuinely want you to do well, and there are some people that don't, and pretty quickly, you're able to sort those out,
Absolutely. But yeah, that, at least for now, that's enough of them. We don't need to give them too much attention, but, despite all that, you got a lot of praise for your early work, and at some point, maybe someone told you, or you decided yourself, that you wanted to do a call wrestling show. What was it? Did it just come to you? Was it a certain show you watched, or what made you decide to do CCL?
It wasn't a certain show I watched, or not necessarily a certain show I watched, or some. It was just one of those things that I woke up one day and decided, I could probably turn this into a decent CAW show. And, when I first started it, I wanted to do it, maybe for a couple of years, 3 years tops. If people like it, fine. And if people don't, whatever. I mean, it hurt at first that people people just hated the show or whatever, but I realized over time that what, some people are going to hate the show, and some people are going to like the show. That's just the way it is.
That's an interesting story, because I mean, it does happen. Sometimes you legitimately just wake up and you're just like, I want to do this.
That's pretty much how that's pretty much the idea of that's pretty much how I came to a lot of ideas around that time. Basically, one morning I decided, I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to go to college. So, yeah, I went ahead and did that.
Now, was there any specific shows around that time that you were watching that you were fans of?
Oh my goodness, a lot of them. Let's see, 2010. So SCAW, I'm still a fan of them. SMF, I was watching some old No DQ stuff around that time. EWF I liked. There's about 4 or 5 others that aren't around anymore that I liked watching around that time. And it was around that time where basically everyone, their dad had a CAW show. And that was kind of an awesome time.
It was. Oh man, it was a very interesting time just to be in the call community. And it's cool. I mean, at least now, I'd like to think, and I know other people see it the way, it seems like call, at least this year, has started to get back that boom but for the last couple of years, it hasn't been that way. It's a shame.
I will say this. I think it's evolved over time. It's first, oh, I forgot to mention ACW. I wasn't really into it. AMA Championship Wrestling wasn't into it that much back in 2010. But oh my God, I'm so into it now. That is an awesome league, and you should watch it. It's I guess it's sort of an evolution, you know. You know, you get a few like-minded people, and they decided, we can do virtual wrestling in like a way and present it in a way that, it really hasn't been presented before. Like, like an action sim style. TXW comes to mind, CCE, I know there's like a few others, and oh my god, I don't know how I forgot to mention them. URWL, oh my god, that is a fucking awesome league. Let me tell you this. Let me tell if anybody listening to this. If you ever want to get into like doing your own CAW show, first off, don't. No, actually, I'm sort of kidding on that. But second, watch your WL, because like holy shit, the effort that Gold Ash puts into that show. My goodness, I mean it's like the presentation is like better than pretty much every wrestling show out there. It's great.
It is phenomenal. I always say whenever a new URWL show comes out, whenever I watch it,
it's a holiday.
It is a holiday. See, I love watching it because it looks so awesome, but every time I watch it, I'm always like, they always do something new, and I'm just like, damn, I want to do that, but I can't.
Right, I mean, you don't have to necessarily do it that way, but you think, you watch, and it's not just you do RWO. It's like I'm sure there's a few different leagues. Like there's always like there is a fresh idea out there somewhere. You just have to find it.
Yeah.
You just have to find it, and you just have to present it in a way that has either never been done or rarely been done.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But then again, here's the other side of my brain telling me, there's no such thing as a fresh idea anymore. And you know what? That is partially true. Yeah. If we're being honest, that is partially true. Everything, it's 2015. Like everything like in the history of ever has already been done. It's just now we have to present it in a different way.
Exactly. I agree. Like, that's why you're right with everything has been done, but you can do it. It's just a matter of how you present it. Like, you can do the same story, but if you present it differently, it becomes fresh. That's why I don't like when people are like, they blame it on, well, everything's been done. Like, you could do it in a different way. There's a little tiny bit of originality left. Just a little bit.
Right. I mean, even a simple tweak, like a simple tweak that that almost nobody will notice, and that's pretty good.
Yeah. It's great because even the little ones you do, if someone, even if it's just one person, notices it, it just, at least, it may not work to say if you got 100 people watching, it may not hit 99 of them, but that one person,
you just want to hit once.
Yeah,
that's it. If it hits once, you're good.
That's all you need to do, and then it works later on because the more you do, more people start to notice.
Right.
Oh, it's insane. But yeah, so CCL, you've had a lot of incredible opportunities to work with many people in CCL. Some good, some bad. Because obviously CCL has it's a bit of a mix. Like, over the years, CCL has had some fantasy characters, but it's also has some original characters, and they've done some really cool things in CCL. Now, some people, let's see, one of them who has been not exactly too friendly with this show and has a bit of controversy with what happened in CCL is Brent Harvenator. Now, he hasn't said very kind words in regards to CCL. And
you know what? That's fine. A lot of people don't have a lot of kind things to say about CCL. Yeah. You know what? Whatever, dude. Like, whatever.
Now, with what happened, I believe it was with him going and winning the championship and then leaving. What from your side of it? Because from you seeing all this happening, how is it to you? Because we've heard his side because he's opened his mouth quite a few times over the years.
First off, if Brent's listening, and I'm pretty sure he's not. But if he is, or if anybody does, if he has felt if he's felt wrong about his direction in CCL, I want to apologize to him personally. I've moved on from it. I've learned from it, and I'm just hoping for his sake he does too. I mean, there's no reason, honestly, to hold a grudge over anything that is done, in virtual wrestling. Because look, it's a hobby. It's a hobby. It's not your life. It's we all have we all chose to get into this into this hobby, and we can all choose at any time to get out of it. And if he has some ill will towards me, and that's fine, that's his choice. And I know some people think I have ill will towards him. I don't. I really don't, because there's no reason to hold a grudge, honestly.
All right, so you have no ill will towards...
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I want to make that perfectly clear to anybody that's listening. I have no ill will towards him. He is welcome back if he chooses. He knows where to reach out to me. I have no ill will toward him. Never had, never will, because there's no reason to. I mean, if he wants to return, that's fine. If he doesn't, no sweat off my back. It
is what it is.
It is what it is, basically.
All right. This is an interesting question. What happened to Thanos?
Thanos.
Why was it never brought up again?
I cut him in the middle of the second season.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically, I decided, got no use for him anymore. I thought about multiple times to bring him back, but at this point I don't see a reason why to. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed having Thanos, but it's just one of those things, Had to move on from it.
All right. One thing I remember from CCL that I enjoyed, and I know some others did, is with Gregory Black, and when he did the whole Boston Strong gimmick. How did that whole thing come about? Was that something you came up with? Was it something he did, and how did he get there?
Oh my God, the Gregory Black storyline from the end of season 3 until the the last quarter of the third season through the end of season 4. Most of that was from him.
That was him.
That most of it was him. He came up with the idea to to go away for a little bit. I think we both mutually agreed on the idea to bring him back at the Holiday Havoc Royal Rumble, and he would win it. And I think we both came up with that idea. And when and I hate and when Brent decided he wanted to leave CCL, and that pretty much was the that I tell you what, the one thing I do regret about Brent leaving, because the one thing I do regret with Brent leaving was I wanted to do a Brent Harvinated Gregory Black storyline. I never got to do it. I'm a little bummed out about that, but not too much. That was one I wanted to do. I think that was the next storyline, as a matter of fact. But what happened was the Boston Marathon bombing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right on a couple of days after Crossroads was supposed to go up, but I didn't want to make mention of that until at the first show after the bombings. So basically, after Gregory won the world title, he would be this, just this total asshole for like the whole season. And I think over the summer, people will come around, after he's defending the world title against just these insurmountable odds. Joe Zamatos puts him in a gauntlet match, three different matches with three different rule sets, and yours truly I did have a sort of a matchmaking ability once. I put him in an elimination chamber match, and that was around that time. That's when the face turn started to happen. Right around that time, right after the gauntlet match. This was the opportunity to turn a face, and just go with the sort of the Boston Strong gimmick. That the Gregory Black Evolution is one of my. I think it's my favorite in terms of story. I think that is probably my favorite thing I've done. That was fun.
Yeah, I liked it as a viewer. I like Gregory Black, so it was really cool to see that happen. Another person who came into CCL that was known of fame elsewhere was TGO, which, I mean, for me, me being a very, very big DWF fan.
Oh, I love DWF. I miss that league.
I miss it too. Their random like startups and close-ups and everything. I do miss it, but it was cool when TGO came over to CCL. How did that come out? Did you talk with him, or?
I did. There were a few people I talked with when I first started CCL. Oh wait, no, yeah, there was a few people I talked with when I first started CCL. I remember now TGO didn't come until toward the end of the first season, but yeah, there were a few people I talked to before I started the league and when I first started it. Because one, I wanted to give the league a little bit of credibility, like right off the bat with some people that that people know, and mix that up with people that don't get used in a lot of CAW leagues. That was actually the idea of sort of like a half legends, half new talent sort of thing. And I'm just fortunate that it sort of worked out because there was no way it was supposed to work if you think about it, right?
Yeah. But it was cool because he came over with Stone Cold Dan Sawkin too.
Yep.
And that was just really cool that he was over there and was just like continuing on the whole TGO, I guess, brand, but we'll put that in quotes.
Right.
There is no brand, but the TGO name has some way and call.
Right.
So it was nice, and one thing I always noticed. Anytime that DJ would say that he was leaving, so like the 10 times that he did, he would always say in regards to TGO that he didn't want TGO elsewhere, but he'd still have him in CCL as long as you had him in there, and that had to be cool for you.
Yeah, that was pretty cool because excuse me, because a lot of people are particular about how their car is used, and that's one thing I've learned. I mean, it's your league and you got a certain degree of control, but some people are quite anal about how their guys used, and that. I mean, it's not right or wrong as their choice, but just know that if your guy is going into excuse me, if your guy is going into somebody else's league, just understand that you're not going to have that you think you have. You gotta be able to work with the owner.
Mm-hmm.
I know this chaps a lot of people's asses, but that's the way it is. I mean, if you want your guy to have 100% control of your guy, here's an idea: start your own league.
Exactly. Now, one thing that has been said about you over the years, because like I said, there's positives and there's negatives said about you, and you know that, and you don't care. But one thing that has been said is that when it comes to certain people in CCL, apparently, this is not my thought, but this is what I've heard, that you tend to push the bigger name over the homegrown names. What's your take on when people say that about you in CCL?
I would say look pretty much at every other league out there ever. No, I'm serious because look, pretty much every other CAW league does this to some degree. Mm-hmm. It's not just me. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like you bring a big name in, you can't just put them at the bottom of the card. One thing I've used when on one of these shows, like for example, just in COH, Ray Geddes just came in. Obviously, Ray Geddes made his name in CCL, but Ray Geddes is an established name. He's not going to go into COH as like a mid card
and like a no name jobber.
Yeah, like he's going to get his top spot because he's earned it. And he has a way to his name.
I mean, it's like real wrestling. If I could use that term, if you bring a big name in, you're not gonna shove him in at the bottom of the card as like a no name jobber, are you? I mean, come on.
Exactly. Now, obviously, when this does happen, obviously, the smart choice is to go with the bigger name, but unfortunately for some homegrown talent, they get pushed aside. Is there any people in particular that you kind of feel you wish you did something more with, but they didn't because maybe of a stacked roster?
Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy, that is quite a list. I will say this. I'm not sure if this question comes up, so I'm going to go ahead and answer it now. My biggest booking regret is having Extreme Tony go over CJ Logan at Conspiracy. I had an opportunity to make CJ Logan a big fucking deal, and I regret not taking it. And I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't realize that at the time. I didn't realize this until, a little bit down the line. I saw the reaction to the end of I saw the reaction the next day after the show went up, and people were pissed. And at first I was like, like, why are you so angry about it? You know, why are you just so why you know, why all the hostility? And you know, looking back on it, like, you know, I still wonder why all the hostility. But yeah, that was I think that was a missed opportunity there, and you know, it's just one of those things I didn't see at the time, you know. But I'm pretty sure everyone, and you know, that's ever done CAW has had one of those, you know, wow, I should have done that differently moments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you haven't, I'm pretty sure you haven't done it right. I'm sorry.
One thing you mentioned, Conspiracy, that was incredible.
That was a lot. That was, one, a lot of fun, and two, a lot of work.
Oh yeah, I remember that because you made the announcement for it and it looked cool, but then there was like 80 matches on the thing. There were so many matches, and it spanned like what, like almost nearly 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That was like, how were you able to do that? Like, it takes me working on Call Stars such a long time, and it's usually about a 2-day event, not 14 days.
That's an easy one. If you remember what time of the year it was when I did it, it was around the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
I was off work, so I had a lot more time to do it. But you know, unfortunately, you know, life's what happens when you make plans. And I think like the first 6 or 7 days up on time, but you know, unfortunately, it was around that time I had to move, so I didn't, you know, get the final few days up until the middle of January, which, you know, kind of sucked a little bit, but but yeah, basically it was just having a lot of time on my hands for a couple of weeks. That's how it all got, you know, put together. And I tell you that, I tell you what, and I don't think a lot of people know this. It was actually Brent Harvenator that came up with the name of the event.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I've always wondered, was the name?
Yeah, I've asked the people on the forum. You know, I want to do this bit, and you know, I guess this was during, you know, better times. You know, I guess when I had better standing in the CAW community, better standing than I have now. I mean, I don't know what my standing is now. I guess it depends on who you ask. But around the fall of 2011, I farmed it out to a few people. You know, what should I name this event? And you know, there were a few names that came up, and it was Brent that came up with Conspiracy, and it was like, I like that name. Let's use it.
It works, and I think anyone around that time would agree that it was really successful. And even if it took a few days to get it out, I strongly urge people. It was 2 weeks. You can wait a few days. It was great though.
It was awesome. It's not up anymore, but I still have the videos. I might put them back up one day, but I might put them back up one day. I might not. I probably won't.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a one-time deal. Which I guess I know what you're about to ask next. Am I going to do another one?
Well, I could, but I already know the answer to that one.
I'm gonna lean toward maybe.
Right, really? Maybe.
I might do it. I might do it, but I'm not 100% sure.
I thought it was going to be a flat no, but maybe. I didn't even think it was a possibility, because I always thought, like, when it happened that there was no sequel to it in these last few years, I thought it was a one-time thing. There wouldn't be a Conspiracy 2, but there's a maybe.
Yeah, I'm leaving the door open for it right now. I'm not I mean, I will say this. I have shut the door on it completely a few times, but since I'm done with CCL after the season, that's pretty much the only reason why I'm leaving the door open to it. Because if I do Conspiracy, it's probably going to be the last CAW event I'm ever involved in.
Mm-hmm.
Because and if I don't do Conspiracy, when I'm done with CCL, I'm done with CAW. I'm done with it. I loved it. I've loved all the friends that I've made from it, but CAW has been and always will be a young man's game. I'm closer to 40 than 30. I'm getting up there. I'm getting up there in years, and
I mean, I understand, and I hope everyone else does, and I'm sure if one day they will, if they don't already. But there's a certain time where you can do Claw, and sometimes it reaches a point where it's like especially with you've done so much of it, and it's like kind of where else do you go? And then also, when does it be like, all right, well, I got to focus on my life,
Right.
So I definitely get it, and I hope everyone else does,
Yeah, I mean, just remember, at the end of the day, it's a hobby. It shouldn't be your life. It shouldn't consume your life to the point where you can't function without it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it because do it because you like to do it. Do it because you love to do it. If you don't like to do it, don't do it.
Exactly. Yeah, don't ruin
it for don't ruin it for someone else. Do it because it makes you happy.
Absolutely. Now, one thing is completely unrelated to Conspiracy, but one thing CCO has had over the years that some feds don't have anymore. I know I don't, but is they've had a women's division, and that has been since the beginning of CCO to even now to at least be a constant in CCO. It's not like pushed to the side. It's given importance. What are your thoughts on, or even just you using a women's division and other call shows and how they do their women's divisions?
Well, how others do it, that's how they do it. That's fine. If you want to make it just this little side attraction, that's fine. If you want to not do it at all, that's fine. My thought from the very beginning, this is just me. My thought from the very beginning was that the women's division should be as important as the men's. And I know this chaps some people in the ass. But I wanted to do that because I didn't see a lot of CAW leagues do it. A lot of CAW leagues, if any. I'm pretty sure there were a couple, and I just can't think of their name off the top of their head. I know SCA has had an entire women's league for quite some time, and
yeah.
I know VWF, that's an entire women's company, and I'm sure there are a couple others, and their names are just not coming to me. But I've always decided, I've always thought that, if I could have a women's division just as good as the men's and not be a sideshow, that would be, I think, the most different thing from every other CAW company outside of just doing an all-women's CAW league.
All right. Now, one of the key storylines of the last season of CCL has been this CCL versus DCA, and a lot of people like it. DCA, really cool call show.
Yeah.
And I know working with CCL has really helped them out, and I think it's benefited both, and to where
I would agree.
So like, how did this come out? Like, did you guys talk about it, or like was it something the fans wanted to see, or?
D-Wall actually came to me with the idea at first. He wanted to do, originally he wanted to do like a one-time multi-league event with DCA and CCL. Now I want to get this straight right out the start. It is not DCA versus CCL. It's sort of like DCA/CCL versus the Blacklist. You know, there's no like war between DCA and CCL. There's no like interpromotional war. Yes, we're working together, but no, there's no interpromotional war. But yeah, it was D-Wall that actually came up with the idea, you know, of a interpromotional event, and I think it was around that time I was actually on my break from CAW. I took like a 3-month break from it last summer because I was just burned out. So the event doesn't happen until November. The event is Future Shock, and I recommend you watch it, by the way, if you haven't. Hang on a sec.
All right.
Sorry about that. That was my roommate. I'm pretty sure you'll edit this out or don't. You know, or don't, whatever. You know, your call. Yeah, the event came off so well. We decided, maybe we could work together a little bit. Maybe, we could both benefit. We could have, a few CCL guys go over there, and a few DCA guys come to CCL, and suddenly you have a bunch of fresh storylines. And I will say this: DCA's been an absolute godsend. I mean, it's the whole DCA CCL thing it's been a lot of fun. It has. It was all DCA's idea at first, to come in.
It's been cool though, and I think one of the best parts, at least that came over from DCA to there, obviously, Casey Gordon.
Yeah.
He went on to win the CCL World Championship.
I think it shocked a lot of people because he only had like one match before that, and it went like 2 minutes, and suddenly the next thing you know, he's the world champion. And at the same time, holy shit, a monster heel just landed on your lap. You might as well make use of it.
Yeah. I mean, how do you think? I mean, the fans were shocked, but like, how do you think the CCL fans, those that maybe seen a little bit of Casey Gordon, felt when he won the world title so quickly?
Definitely a lot of shock. Definitely quite a few people did not like it. I don't know if it was like they didn't like it in a work sense or they didn't like it in a shoot sense, and because here's this guy coming from nowhere, jumping right in the front of the line, and suddenly he's the top guy. Like, why? And I'm like, why not? Just let it build, and I promise you, when we get to the end, you will come around. And I have a feeling after the big one ended, a lot of people came around.
Yeah. I mean, maybe also it was because Ray Gaddis went on to win the titles.
That could be it too. But that, without giving too much away, that was always how the story was that story was going to end. At least that portion of it. Mm-hmm. That's how it was always going to end. It was going to end with Ray Geddes taking the world title from Casey Gordon, and it was basically like a it was like 4 or 5 people along with myself sort of came to like the steps toward it, and yeah, now that looking back on it, yeah, I will say this: I was not easy to work with back in 2011, 2012, around the time of Brent Harvinator and Smoking. I admit that I was a bit of a hard ass. I'm still a bit of a hard ass now, but now that I think about it. But it's not nearly as much, And I guess which brings me, I shall say that. I'll say that if that comes up. I'll say that.
All right. Now, Ray Geddes, I guess is a prime time to bring him up.
Yeah.
Very popular.
Yeah.
He has like.
I did not realize how popular he was.
Yeah, like he it's not even like, oh well, it's the CCL fans. It's Ray Geddes fans. Like he has his own following, and a lot of people now in COH, since he's made the went over there, are noticing how significant of a fan base he has. But a lot of people don't realize it started over in CCL, because when I talk with Ray, he came in as a heel, but he was just so loved that you turned him face.
Yeah, I
mean, would you?
Actually, I don't think. Yeah, I think he might have been a heel for like a month.
For a month.
A month tops. A month tops. He was a heel when. Yeah, it was one of those. It was just one of those things that, one, I had to turn him face, and 2, I had to put him sort of like feature him a little more, because holy shit, there are a lot of people that like this guy. There are a lot of people that that watch the show because of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one part of me is like, holy shit, I got all these new viewers that I didn't have, and on the other hand, holy shit, my other side of the brain is going, didn't you deal with this before? And as a matter of fact, I did. And I will say this, and I don't care if people take this the wrong way or whatever. When Brent Harvinator lost the world title and left the company right after that, a lot of viewers left. Because let's be honest, a lot of people weren't necessarily CCL fans; they were Brent Harvinator fans. I think that a lot of CAW has their own group of, especially original CAW. They have like their own group of fans.
Yeah.
And when their guy isn't getting pushed, when their guy isn't in the spotlight, they'll go somewhere else.
Oh yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. That you're. I'm not saying it's the right way to feel that way. It's not a wrong way to feel that way. That's your way. That's if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But I don't think that's necessarily fair, because you're not giving the show a chance. But I mean, but hey, look, I think a lot of people watch, because of of one guy or whatever. But hey, there's a lot of other things on the show. You might like those things, but if you want to watch the show because of one thing, and if you stop liking it because of this one thing, then maybe you probably never liked the show in the first place. You just like that one guy.
Maybe, yeah.
Hang on a sec. My Amazon Prime orders here.
Squirrel, that is all.
A squirrel. Oh, God.
Squirrel. Okay.
Yeah. Squirrel.
Sorry about that.
It's alright. Alright, let's see. I think we finished up with that. So, what was the question? Alright, here we go. With, CCL coming to an end after the season, where do you see, like, because CCL has a certain place in Call Wrestling. Do you believe there is a show lined up to perhaps take the place or fill the void of CCL going away?
Wow.
I know some would say that show would be DCA.
I think spiritually DCA would be that show, but on the other hand, I hope that show doesn't exist, and I'll tell you why. I want to leave it in its own unique place in CAW history. I wanted to leave it like in so unique a place that it can't possibly be replaced. And that's not me, being, just having this big ego. It's just how I feel. I want it to go out as like the most unique CAW show ever. I don't want it replaced. Honestly. I mean, if something comes close, sure. I'm pretty sure there are a few leagues over time that will spring up. And, that will sort of carry on the spirit. But if it doesn't, no sweat off my back, I guess I just want it to be remembered, I guess. I mean, I'm let's be honest, me doing CCL for about, holy shit, it's almost 6 years now.
Yeah.
Everybody that's seen it sort of formed their opinion on it, and what's one more year? One more year isn't going to change the minds of a lot of people. Those that like it do like it, and those that don't. I mean, no sense in changing those opinions, and it's just, do you like it? And I just want to be satisfied when I'm done.
Right.
I just want to be satisfied with what I'm done what I've done.
And I'll ask this now. It's a question submitted by Ray Geddes.
Yes, sir.
So I'll ask it, and then I'll ask something afterwards, because you understand when you hear the question.
Okay.
Thoughts on going one more season after Season 6 CCL's finished? Old Raging Redneck knows you said you're done, but Armageddon's ain't done after Season 6, so you can't quit. I don't think so. Only Ray.
Only right. That's pretty good, but you know, I might change my mind, but for right now my mind's sort of made up, and it's not like I just came to this decision. I came to it like right around this time last year, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as much as as fun as this was, as fun as it's been, I just think it's time for me to move on. I mean, I don't want to necessarily totally close the door on another season after this, but excuse me. I would say I'm about 98% sure that this season is my last. But the good news is this: the last season won't end until I think around December 2016. So
yeah, so there's still plenty of time.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question. A fan submitted question from COH's Scott Adams. Tell us about your relationship with Christian Gary and why you associate with him in CCL, because he's an interesting figure.
Well, honestly, I don't associate with him anymore. He runs the fan page, not the face. He runs the fan page. There's a fan group on Facebook. He runs that. I have an official Facebook page. I run that.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much about as far as the association goes. I cut bait with him about a year and a half ago. You know, when I found Chris Martinez, and I'm sure he's a good kid. But he's also young, and he has to realize, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes when you're young, but you can't, make the same mistakes over and over and over again. It's like basically like I said earlier in the interview. CAW is not that serious. It shouldn't be that serious. It shouldn't ever, and I want to make this clear, ever, EVER, ever be that serious. I mean, it's a hobby.
Exactly.
It's a hobby, kid. Don't let it take over your life. Don't let outside stuff stress you. You can only control so much you can only control so much around you, because control what you can, within yourself. As long as you're happy within yourself, everything else will come into place.
Right. Now, let me ask this, last question, and then I'll throw out a few names. There's been a lot of talk on Ask FM of what people want to see. The people are pretty vocal about this. They want to see CCL versus COH, they want to see the Super Show. They want to see it happen. So I've asked Travis about it, and he's told me that you guys haven't talked about it yet, and there's no talks about it. But he seemed to be open to it. So what's your take? Are we ever going to see that Super Show happen?
I think we'll see that Super Show happen. I don't know when, but I think it will happen. I will say about 99% sure it will happen.
All right. So I think that's going to make a lot of people really happy, because everyone wants to see it.
Oh my God! I've been asked that like no less than 10 times since in the last few months. Like, is there a CCL? Yes, yes, I admit it. It would be awesome to see CCL versus Call of Honor. I would love to see it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would love to see it. And you know what? Let's give it to him. I don't know when, but we're going to give it to you.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
So Travis, you listening out there? I know you're listening to this. Go talk to Eddie. Make something happen. And we'll finish up with a name association, because I know we don't got too much time here. So I'll throw out a few names and just say what comes to mind. We'll go with Chris Martinez. He also has TRT, Bradley Reynolds in CCO.
Hell of a talent. Hell of a talent.
All right. The Great D.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Oh, the Great D. Yeah, he's cool. Old Raging Redneck. Right?
Oh, I love him. He's been a godsend. I will say this: at first, we didn't quite see that eye to eye at first, but it took me a little while to to understand him and understand where he's coming from. But once we got past that, oh my God, it was off to the races. And I tell you what, he's an awesome dude.
All right. This might be an interesting one, because I don't know how much of this you pay attention to, but from COH, Steve, who does the Immacuracy character, and who's had his arguments with some of the Ray Geddes fans. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
I can't say I am, but if you're having an argument over CAW, my question is why? Why?
D-Wall.
Oh, D-Wall, godsend. Is awesome, another awesome dude.
All right. Evan O'Shea.
Yeah, he's another one of those people that don't like me for whatever reason. But he's a hell of a talent.
Yeah.
Hell of a talent.
All right. Burb of New WWE. I think the silence speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And who else could we give? Sure, why not? Travis Sparks. I don't know how much you guys have talked before, but
not enough apparently. Oh my God! I'll tell you what. I can't wait. I can't wait to work with him. I think the CCL COA show. I think if it ever comes to pass, it will be a blockbuster.
Oh, I agree. That's about it. Is there anything else you'd like to?
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, it is. Whether you liked what I've done, or disliked what I've done, thank you. Thank you for giving a shit about what. Thank you for giving a shit about what I've done, whether you've liked it or whether you've not liked it. I've made a lot of friends in the CAW community and a lot of cool people, and there are a lot of people that don't like me for professional reasons, and there are a lot of people that don't like me for personal reasons. And if you're one of those people that don't like me for personal reasons, I would certainly like to know why. I mean, I don't go out of my way to bury anybody. I really don't. But seriously, it's been a hell of a ride, and when I'm finally done with this, I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss all the people out there that have and I guess my advice is to prospective CAW owners, do what makes you happy. And I guess that can sort of be advice on life in general. Do what makes you happy. Don't go out of your way to hurt other people, because it will come back and bite you, whether it's in this life or the next.
Absolutely. I'll give this one more before we go. There's one last name for.
And don't hold grudges.
Oh, yeah. that one I agree with. But there's one last name I was asked that I must ask for name association.
Go.
Maven.
The tough guy?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, a hell of a theme song, but unfortunately not a hell of a career.
Yeah. I couldn't let it end too serious. We had to lighten the mood.
Yeah, basically, look, it's... And this basically to anyone listening, look, CAW is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a hobby. Don't let it control your life. You know, there's a hell of a lot more to life than, you know, what you do in front of a, you know, 30-inch, 40-inch, however big your TV screen is, and a couple of video game systems and an editing program, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, enjoy life, because you only get one. That's it.
All right. Well, that was very well said. Thank you for coming on. I hope the people enjoyed it.
Oh, I hope so too. And if you didn't enjoy it, you know where to find me on the Twitter. You know, go ahead and yell at me. I probably won't answer you back. Though, like, you know, look, as long as you're reasonable about your opinion, I'll listen to your opinion. But if you go out of your way to, just bash me, and you know who you are. If you're going out of my way to just bash me, why should I listen to you? But yeah, honest to goodness, if you enjoyed it, thank you. If you didn't, he'll try to do better. He'll try to do better the next time.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, and good luck with the final season of CCL.
Thank you, sir.